Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, this gonna be something that's not gonna be pretty much. I don't think I'm gonna make it available through social media, so it's gonna be probably a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna go down the road Pacific to start off about woman equal rights and what I didn't learn over the time period, how I had it, you know, wrong myself. And it's nothing wrong with what's going on, but it is something wrong. You know, years ago, I used to always kind of desire, you know, having what is called a partner like myself, meaning, a hustler, uh, business orientated, you know, that's already established. That's not just, the average woman, you could say. And the reason why I liked that idea because it's like, one, for me personally, I like to move around. So if I'm dating a woman that's actually that have a career that make good money, but they're tied down on a job, we can't travel like I want, because I won't be able to leave when I want, how I want, days, weeks, months, whatever it may be. But the thing was, I was looking for a woman, pretty much like the woman I date now. Somebody had a foundation, he had real estate, online business, whatever, and I could just add to their thing, strengthen it up, and then we become one. Well, that's still a good approach. I'm real appreciative to what I have, the surrounding relationship, what I have. But what I didn't learn was over the years of just keeping myself informed on what's going on behind the scenes. That was actually all a plan. And why I'm saying that, I want to keep this video more, not so much discreet, but more exquisite, because a lot of women will take it the wrong way what I'm about to say. So I love the idea that you got independent women today, but I also understand that was a form to break up the family. Now, where I'm going at with this, okay, you look at the history of man and what the power of family is. To a certain extent, you had different histories that always converted the opposite. But it seems like when you had the man as the protector, right, the provider, right, and to go out to do the things that need to be done, while the woman actually was home doing things that was considered the woman thing, staying at home, cook, clean, mostly part nurture the kids, and just make sure the home is straight. Well, that still go on, I guess, in some parts of the world. You know what I'm saying? Even you understand, let me just use what's considered the Middle Eastern. A lot of times, their structures is when a sibling as a sister or a daughter, from my understanding, when they inherited certain wealth, and it may be changing, a lot of times they can't receive their inheritance until they find a husband, right? Because, they brothers or whoever going to control that money. And I saw, different things that was going on with Bitcoin. A lot of women was, breaking that model in that part of the world. And you look at some of the dynasties like the Rothschilds, etc., they kept the power within the men, right? You go back to, Africa, etc. So what happened was, this was the foundation to a family. Someone at home, taking care of what need to be was considered home as far as the woman position and job. And then you got the man that's out, even working, running the business, or controlling an empire for the better good, for the family, structure, and inheritance. Okay. What happened over the years when you start understanding own and control everything, a lot of that was reassembled through, I'm going to just use Rockefeller. And when they mean they ain't want no competition, they want a nation of not thinkers but workers. They did everything that they needed to do to cut down family orientating people. So they changed things, they did things, they influenced it from the school systems through the birth certificate with the hospital. I mean, they even came up with the idea now that people have that they've been leaked out, that the woman equal rights movement. that was also, according to certain researchers like myself, that the Rockefellers behind the scene funding that, to put the women on an equal ground with man, so now they could do just what man do, so we could get jobs, we could get y'all equal pay to a certain extent, and they grew over the years. So that lead us to where we at now, where you got more independent women with more money than some men. And it's just like anything else. How can a woman be bonded when she feel like she make more than you? She could do everything you could do. What she really needs you for? That's the attitude that most women, of these status carry. And a lot of men don't want to be bothered with these type of women. Someone like me, I love it because I'm superior, so I feel like I can handle it. But little that I know was that wasn't the right approach. What was going on in society? This was engineered for a purpose, and especially to break down the black families. You understand? When you go back into the crate, you start seeing lies that were specifically done to the black man and his family, because that's what will keep down overall than the rest of the cultures of people. Now you look at it globally, the powers that be that melted the whole global system down to a certain extent. It made people think, well, I got a better privilege than you because, my neighborhood and my school or whatever it may be. But what happens is, this why you see the ratio of marriage, most marriage, and most time, I don't know the statistics of it, but I tell people all the time, for the last 10, 15 years, if you get 20 years out of a woman, you did good, because I don't really believe there's no more too much to death do us part, because it's too much distraction. Number one, you got too many options. Man got the phone, he can see all these beautiful women. Women can see all these other, good looking men who flex and whatever it may be. So, when grandma was living 30, 40 years till death do us part, you had distraction then, but it wasn't just right in your hand, because you was, grandma was on jobs, and, she did cheat on grandpa. Grandpa had a woman cross town, whatever it was. It wasn't as bad, right? But now, with all the distraction now, it's hard for someone to actually just, hold their grounds. And I'm not finding excuses for what's going on for the divorce ratio that also plays a part from the unemployment ratio that plays a part with the government assistance. They give women first before they give man, keep man out the house with them. All these things was engineered through layers, and you break it down in dynamics, you start seeing how this works. See, I love the idea of being around people that just is more powerful than me, because I look to have partners from my friends, like male, my woman, so it don't scare me to be around people that's doing just more than me or have more than me, because a lot of people can't do that because they deal with, low self-esteem, or they just, their ego won't allow them. But it's just like this, though. I like to give everybody an option to be free around me. But think about this realistic. If I work for you and you my boss, and I start getting more money than you, eventually I become independent. I go against you. Well, that's what's happening in society with women. Women go against men. And they don't know why they're doing it. Men don't know why they're doing it. And then, people don't understand why. Because this was engineered and factored in over the century. And really before this century, but as time went on, the powers that be got better at implementing certain strategies through, political, power. When they start creating these laws, we talking about the equal rights movement. A lot of stuff get passed down through legislations, right? Because I understand Congress really make laws and legislation make statutes. So I don't know if the women equal rights was engineered through Congress. I don't know if the statute is a real law. I don't know, but I'm just understanding the subject matter. That's one part that played into the hands of get what we get now, where you got so many independent women look like they can't get a man, and then you got so many, women that's bosses, and they want a man, you know what I'm saying? But at the time they get a man, it's like, who really in charge? So it's leave man vulnerable, because now, like they say, they didn't feminize the man so much to where the woman are more muscle. You know what I'm saying? And we understand, everything is based on dependence to independence. So it's no such thing as I'm all me. Without you, it's no me. But the ego have you so caught up to where it's all you without that. But when a person go out, just use a woman perspective. I'm not a woman, so I can't understand totally how women feel. But when she didn't went through a divorce or went through things or just built her money up without a man, and she feel like, fuck you, nigga, I don't need you, I got my own. Same with a man like myself, come from the streets, and I didn't build my legacy up, and I built, money up from bottom up. Then I feel like I don't need nobody to do nothing for me, nigga. I'm independent. This just the mindset the ego have us in. And we don't realize that same ego, that's what hinders most of us. Because you get cocky. It ain't nothing wrong with being cocky. But you can't forget about the people that helped you get where you got. So then you forget over the years when you built this type of foundation within yourself, you ain't realized that people around you helped you got where you got. That's why I just say it's so important to understand self and then go through the self-knowing, the self-development, the self-process. Guys that I met, I didn't get my first self-development through the Kemetic, which, was before Egypt. But you meet guys that got the ancient science down pat, or what man was back then. That's a form of self, because it gives you superior power to understand that you are powerful. I got my first, initial self-development through, different books that was more mainstream. But when I started understanding, I always understood history from the ancient science of things. But when I started understanding from the ancient science of how the kings and the gods operated through, Kemetic, and, we just say Egypt to keep it more simple. Or I go back to Sumer and all that. That's a form of understanding self, the history of where you come from. Knowing that people is already around this world look like me and you, right? When you start having that process, then you start understanding things after that. It's all secondary information, because the power still arise within yourself. So all you gotta understand, you gotta understand the parents of you, the grandparents of you. And if you could get more and more of your family roots, then that make you powerful. Your culture, where you come from, and all this type of stuff. So the message is today is, what happened in our culture I see now is that it's a great idea to have a power couple. A man and woman that both is on business, and they both financial, strong, or they finance literacy, or they savvy together. They both have their own foundation to come together as one. That's beautiful. But the problem is, two can't do what one do, right? Two can't. Man can't do what woman do, and woman damn sure can't do what man do. But in the physical world, it looks like woman could do everything man do. And they designed this system with the intent to, down the line, 40, 50 years, 100 years later, to have what we have now. And that's why there's so many beautiful women that you see on the timeline believe in sex sell, because the further they think sex sell is showing a body off. So they got their body out, and they business don't much align with a sex symbol. Let me show you what I'm trying to say. Shouts out to my man Jacoby and my other guy now, but I met my guy Jacoby through my nephew. I call my nephew now. And one thing my guy Jacoby made me realize, when we was setting up the structure with Buck Cup Coffee, he said, hold on. He had a white guy who was gonna make the face. He said, nah, he goofy looking. He said, sex sell, no homo. He meant the guy that he thought of, he know he had the face. So that taught me right there, sex ain't just for women. Sex is appearance of who could be who could be, attractive to a group of people, and get in a dope. So people think sex sell means just, having your chest out, or just having, the ass out as a woman, whatever it is. That's not all the way the form of sex sell. Sex sell means the intellectual of you, the appearance of you, who could do it. So you don't have to have a gang of people, bunch of women just want to flex, and you got men want to show their body off. That was privacy at one time. See, when you understand substance versus phone, concept versus phone. The concept is virtual. The substance is phone. Think about this. When you come on the streets, you had two types of people from the streets at one time. You had the fraud man, you had the drug dealer man. The fraud man always had to pull out money to get you to believe he had something that he might have didn't have, right? But the drug dealer didn't really have to flex when we was growing up, because while the drug dealer had substance, he had work, he had, he had something that was substance, right? So now the drug dealers, or the one that's more of a drug dealer, don't know it's a dealer because he gotta flex all his money. Because he don't understand the substance. When you got substance, it's like you have something. Because when I was building my foundation, I was gonna buy fake files and all that shit back then, but I'm like, for what? I'm building something with substance. Why? I had a brand that was a coffee brand. I had shirt, so I had some substance. Now I understand the virtue is way more powerful than substance to a certain, because it's unlimited. It could be transferred, it could be done over and over without shipping and having. So it's unlimited. But the thing I'm showing you is this: the reason why most people have to show off they not so much of their wealth, but just the two different characters of people that came from the streets. And you can line up all the way in the corporate world. Now, don't let it be fooled, because you got guys like my man Money Mayweather that show you millions of dollars, and he got substance too. But what I'm showing you is, the thing is, people don't know why they do some of the things they do. And all it's been engineered to a concept of political relationships, create laws, right? Capitalists writing checks to entertainers in all the dimensions of you won't think of, right? Tech companies get money to run social media, right? And then you got the community where the CIA they don't transport nothing no more, but the thing is, they influence how the drugs gonna move. So with all that being said, all this shapes society, and it's a lot more what I'm saying. So all I was trying to get people to understand what I was talking about, how the equal rights of women was engineered for what we got today. Less family structures. They got some powerful blacks that been together for years. So it didn't affect everybody. But when you got two powerful people, sometimes it could go the opposite. So with that being said, peace to everyone out there. I was sharing a different insight, thought on how things been shaped and molded to make people move how they were by sending subliminal message through the subconscious. And most people never sit back to deprogram themselves or reprogram their mind to have a conscious movement of things that they're doing, than just running out, just doing things and don't know why they doing it. So they get a whole bunch of everything. They don't got a clue. They just know they became successful. So hey, check me out. I'm always available. I'm out.